Yeah. There's
I think part of it's just survival. Surviving has been to survive on a fundamental level. It's been you have to be married. I mean, that's, it's changing, but it's the way it was for thousands and thousands of years. I mean, women had to marry to survive, literally survive. So there wasn't an opportunity to sort of separate from the mommy in that way.
And maybe lesbian eros can hide a little bit more in that early stage in the romantic relationships and romantic friendships that are a little more accepted between women than between men. So that
they really were actually in the mid-centuries until Freud came up with some of these theories, and then romantic relationships and some other things, but then romantic relationships between women were like all of a sudden totally taboo. But a lot of women had these secret relationships for many years, romantic relationships or Boston marriages, and nobody sort of questioned it. And they would have, they would support each other financially and emotionally, and I'm not sure sexually, because sexuality is so repressed and there's not a lot of literature on what's going on between them.
Oh, I know, that's how, they're not sure, but who's ever sure?
Yeah.
Just, if a man and a woman have lived together for 50 years, no one questions if they've been getting it on. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
I find that, it's like, well, we don't know if they had sex. We don't know what they were.
Well, but I'm also coming from that part that no one was writing about it until the Well of Loneliness, and the repression of the written word too, or that part of it too.
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying. I'm saying
in terms of history, we get to write it how we want to write it.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think I'm just going to take the liberty of assuming that they were getting it on.
Me too.
I agree. It sounds like your point is that they didn't have a voice because
Yes.
of the cultural setting, so they couldn't write about it.
Yeah.
Is that what you're?
Yes, that's exactly right.
But there are love letters actually between women. There are love letters from history. That's the one place where you can find it, is love letters. But I think this point is like, it's taboo. It's kind of what I was saying about somebody was saying to me, okay, we can be a sex object or a frau, a house frau, and those are the options. Even today, because of heteronormativity, even today the mother says you can be whatever you want or whatever, she's got to say that. But because of heteronormativity, I'm saying unconsciously, the message is, you and me, baby, you will do what I've been doing. And if you try to be different from me, there will be dire consequences. And a lot of it is unspoken.
Sandra, I just wanted to say too that it was, from my experience, my mother was so, it just seems like there's differences in the way that, we're taught to experience our bodies and view our bodies, and our relationships with our bodies are non-existent. Whereas I think, I don't know, I'm just speculating, but it's more okay for a boy to be his body and be more sensate, maybe?
It may be, unless if he's a gay boy and the way he senses in ways that it can get severely.
Yeah, but I know that my own mother just had such this intense body hate. It wasn't like she ever said, I hate my body, but it was all unspoken. And so it's almost like my own body just became forbidden to me. And the only way I could ever experience it was through heterosexual hate for the longest.
Is that what you were just saying? You could either be a sex object or a frau? If you're a
Yeah.
frau, boy, that's not very sexy at all. If you're a mother, then you're automatically a frau, then there's nothing to like about your body.
And then I think in terms of being a sex object, even that aspect kind of gets co-opted.
Sure.
So
Makes so sense.
it's just kind of
Yeah. that in some ways? Well, I think it comes back to this idea that mother-daughter is the only, it's kind of like that's the only permissible configuration. And so we'll just do that. Me and my mother will just do that. You get, basically, and I think you said it's like female desire is like active female desire. You don't see it unless she's like a fatal attraction or
Well, yeah, I mean, if,
some
I mean,
kind
you
of
could-
predatory kind of thing. But an active, I'm in my body, I'm hot, I own my own body, I can do what I want with my body, and I'm safe to be in my body and move toward the object of desire. No, we don't see that represented in the feminine, in the female body. We don't see that. And so if you don't have that, and then you don't, plus you're not allowed to have aggression, you just have to be nice. So that's how women relate to each other. Oh, I watch myself do it all the time. Oh, let me give you this, your cookie example. You know, no aggression, no erotic object of desire. It's like, wow, I guess it's just me and mommy.
I was just thinking of the kind of the sister lover. Like before coming out, I had so many relationships with women that were just like, I mean, we may as well have been married, just not having sex. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of libidinal energy that gets disguised under the guise of sisterhood. You know, that could be, you know, acted out on very easily. You know, if it were just more conscious.
And there's also, well, and that's your point. Yeah. And there's also mothers who incest their daughters, you know, like, because, come here, honey. You know, their daughter's 12, 13 years old, whatever, and are very stimulating to their daughters. Sleep with me. They would never do that with their 13-year-old son. But their lesbian daughter, they're sleeping with her, they're arousing her. There's all kinds of things going on with the mother and the daughter, assuming that the daughter is heterosexual. And the daughter's having like a whole other experience. And that can also have a powerful effect.
What about
It seems to me like underlying what we're talking about is this an idea which I feel like I don't know well at all because I'm in a male body, but that there's a distinctive quality and power to female sexuality and lesbian eros, a quality of, like you said to me last week, the burning bush, that there's this particular magical power of lesbian sexuality that's so disturbing for everybody else, and even for the people who have it, even for the lesbian. That why are we talking about, why is it mother-daughter, and why, like Gina says, the sisters don't even get to have an eroticized experience of sisterhood? Because lesbian eros is so intense and so magical in some way that I don't even know, I'm just imagining, must be, that there's all this business around it.
Well, thank you for the mirroring. Yeah, well, if you think about the clitoris and the vagina, if you think about the capacity there to have multiple orgasms, to go on and on and on, you get two of them together, like who knows what they're going to get up to and what that can cook up, both literally and imaginally, like the depth and the richness of that imagery, which is archetypal.
Well, and literally there's the endorphins, I'm blanking on the word right now, but the word that comes out when a woman falls in love, the hormones that we release.
Pheromones?
Yeah, but it's a different word, and the mother has it with the baby being due.
Oxy.
Yes, oxytocin. Thank you.
Oxytocin.
So you get two women with oxytocin going. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah,
There's,
there's
you know, the
a,
actual physical aspect of what we're talking about.
yeah.
There is also the symbolic magical aspect as well that I'm talking about.
And a way that it's a gateway, I think, to a certain state of mind and being
Yeah.
that nothing else is a gateway to. And we can only assume that anything that's so taboo must have enormous power.
Sandra, I was thinking about what you're going through in your own body and your cancer as kind of the somehow like this response that comes up when this incredible lesbian eros wants to come out. It's like every, you know, all the forces, all the heteronormative forces, all that trauma, all of that just wants to like not let that come forward. And so, you know, that you can see that, like there's the, you know, the thing of the opposites is there. It's like so big right now for you, as you're presenting these talks and yet having to deal with all this pain and all this symbology of that. And I guess it's just kind of mirroring for me as a gay man going through a different version of that, but that it's like this. It is so taboo. It is just so like to really go into that hot place is just so taboo, you know. And yet there's something like just getting glimpses of it. It's like I want that. I want that. I want that. I want that. I want more.
Yeah, I can feel this, like, as you're talking, this burn, fire. Well, let's hear for going for it.
I wanted to share this. Up until the 20th century, in the Iranian culture where women were all indoors and inside the house and men were outside the house, they had to entertain themselves. And you know, it's like, you know, of course the hetero version and the male version is that, well, they were just having to do this because they had like nothing else to do, and so they would like sort of pass the time in this way. So they usually had these male musicians who were blind because they were blind, so they couldn't see the women.
Right.
And the women would have this dance, it was called the Dance of the Ants. And one woman would get up, you know, with all her like sort of layers of clothing, and she would say, I have an ant on my skin. What do I do? And the other one would like, take it off, take it off. Until they should take off. But I still feel the ant on my skin. Like, take it off, take it off. And it would go on for hours as one after the other of these women would like get undressed in this rah-rah cheering way. And there was something about the way you were talking about lesbian eros that kind of brought up that sense of women being turned on by other women, kind of in this, yeah, turn it on, you know, and the liberation of eros that does, kind of all throughout. So I wanted to just say thank you for that.
Thank you. Oh, wow. I once had a dream with a tarot card that was the ant. I never knew what it meant. All right. Well, thank you all for joining in this conversation, which feels so important and valuable. And let's see, and I want to thank Gina and Flint for being the dyke girls at the front desk. All right.
You're very welcome, and the two of you came in today. I'd like to take the money.
eyes and writing at times. Nancy, forget how you do. I could go around. All right. Well, let's go rock and roll. Thank you so much.